Everybody, welcome back to Shock and Schlock. I'm your host, Herschel Gillis, and today is now day 10 on day 14 of 31 Days of Horror. And today, for the final review, reviewing one of the most anticipated films by me of the year, because I'm a big fan of the series, and that is Terrifier 3, directed by Damien Leone. Um, I'm going to just say it out there. I'm going to talk about characters and stuff from the previous two. I'm going to assume you've seen the previous two films, so, you know, what have you. I'm not going to spoil anything in Terrifier 3, but, I'm going to talk about characters in the previous two. So, if you don't want that, I guess skip this, but whatever. Anyway, this was a very hyped film by me, so went in with high expectations. You hear the same stuff every time a new big horror movie comes out that's like more of a mainstream release. It's like people are throwing up, people are leaving the theater, yada yada, whatever. It's marketing, I get it. But is it good? I was hoping it would be good, and got a lot to talk about Terrifier towards the end here, away from like the actual film, so hold on for that. But anyway, short answer, yes. It is by far my favorite of the three. If you're going to do anything, if you're stopping here, go watch Terrifier 3. That's it. But anyway, story takes place 5 years after Terrifier 2, with Sienna and Jonathan, trying to live normal lives. The previous main characters in the second film, Sienna had been out of a mental hospital. Jonathan is in college and getting harassed by like true crime podcasters wanting to talk about his story. And of course, Art the Clown comes back. But this time, he brings Victoria, or Vicky, who is a survivor of Art the Clown. She goes on to kill someone I think it was the second film, I want to say. Very like mangled, and now she's sort of like his cohort. And the two wreak havoc, trying to get to Sienna and Jonathan, killing everybody in their way, and what have you. This is not a super complicated film, obviously. The lore in this one is not as deep as the second one either, but I did think it felt deeper than the first, because we get the characters, what they represent. We get a little bit of like the more mystical aspect here, but not as much as in the second film. So I feel like it struck a good balance tonally in this one. It's also not 2.5 hours long like the second one, which to me was not a huge issue, but it does, make me want to rewatch the first one rather than the second one on rewatches, because 2.5 hours, even though it doesn't feel it, you have to set aside some time. And but somebody that has a busy work schedule, that can be difficult on occasion. So I have seen it a couple of times, but yeah, I've seen the first more. So this one being 2 hours is much more manageable. But you know what to expect with Terrifier. So is the gore and the kills good? That's what a lot of people are going into this. Terrifier 2 has the now pretty infamous bedroom scene, which is up there as one of the most grotesque kills I've seen, not just in like mainstream film, but in like horror in general. At least in recent years, it's pretty gnarly and mean-spirited, especially for like a movie that I saw in a theater. So does it match that? I would say yes. It actually surpasses most of what is in Terrifier 2. I think the bedroom scene is still just a touch worse than what is in this film. But this film does have some really nasty stuff. The thing that I liked about this film was that each kill feels really unique and memorable. The previous ones, there are memorable kills. Like the first one has the saw down the middle. The second one has the bedroom scene. Those are like the memorable ones. This one has like multiple of that. So there's something involving a shower, something involving rats. There's something involving a Santa Claus. There's a lot of child death in this one, which is, not shocking considering like the trajectory that where this series was going. But I feel like a lot of people will get shocked. I heard a lot of gasp in the theater during a couple of these, like, because kids are most certainly not safe in this. They do primarily just show the aftermath when it does happen, but the fact that it happens at all and the aftermath is quite graphic. So that is definitely an addition. But the kills in this are much more creative. the bedroom scene in the second one. I'm not going to keep comparing, but I mean, there are stuff that matches that level of brutality. I just think that that one has a certain nastiness to it, like how prolonged it is. The rat scene in part three, I'm not going to go into what happens, but it is one of the more graphic things I've seen in the theater too, so I think they really top themselves with the kills and the gore in this. But the thing I really enjoy about this one as well, I also think this is the funniest entry by far. Terrifier 2 is pretty funny. Terrifier 1 has its moments. This one had me, like, belly laughing several times, so for the weird people out there like myself that finds humor in very dark things, you're going to really enjoy this. If you ever if you're ever to watch a movie where a child dies and you laugh at it, it's probably going to be this one. So it is very funny. I think David Howard Thornton's performance as Art in this one is probably his best of the three as well. He really feels like he's came into his own through these films. And as a character that doesn't speak at all, his body language and everything, he's very funny, and I don't think there could be, like, I can't picture somebody else replacing him that easily. I think he's really come into his own as, like, you know, a new horror icon. I don't think that is a stretch to say that Art has become that. And I think he does really good. I also think that Samantha Scafidi, I believe that's how her Scafidi, who plays Vicky in this, does a really good job because she does have a speaking role and she's very intimidating, and I really appreciated they brought her character back and she's, like, as insane as Art the Clown. There's a part with her in an attic that is quite out there, to say the least. It is very, very graphic. I don't know if this has an MPAA rating, but this would definitely be up there, like, towards the NC-17 rating, just for, like, the, like, implications of some of these things and sexualized violence and self-harm. We'll just leave it at that. But the fact that this film is in a theater to me is crazy. It's a good crazy. I absolutely adored this film. I think it's one of the most fun films I've seen in a theater in a very long time. But yeah, the characters in this, much more fleshed out. I really like the addition of Vicky's character. I think Art is the best he's ever been as a character. I think David Howard Thornton's performance as him is the best he's ever been. Really, the only weak performance in this, I would say, Elliot Fulham. He plays it a little deadpan at times, a little robotic. Never really bothered me. I think he's decent. I get that that's part of his character, that he's, like, shell-shocked, but I do wish he had more like, flavor to his performance, because I think Lauren Levira as Sienna does a really good job. I think she's actually better than the previous two. She's, like, this more torn, almost, like, scarred hero at this point. I don't think she can really be considered, like, the traditional final girl. She's much more in line with, like, an Ellen Ripley, like the very strong female lead that didn't really, like, survive something, but is, like, a much more strong female lead, rather than something that just kind of stumble their way through something. She actively takes on, like, the heroic badass role. So I think she's really cool. She's definitely, like, my personal favorite, like, final girl, I guess. Protagonist, I would say. In horror at the moment. I really look forward to seeing where they take her character in the next one, because obviously there will be a Terrifier 4. Yeah, this film is just a hell of a lot of fun. I think the pacing is great. I really like, everything about it. I really have no complaints. This is up there as one of my favorite films of the year. If you enjoyed the previous two, this is my personal favorite of the three of them. I don't see how you would enjoy the previous two and not enjoy this one. I think he just, Damien Leone, with each entry, has been getting better. So, look forward to Terrifier 4. And as a side note here, something about the Terrifier series that I think, even if you don't enjoy these, I understand that there are people that don't like these, or, think these are, sometimes it's cool to hate popular things. That's fine. I think it's just a very small minority, though, in the underground film community that don't really enjoy this. But even if you don't, that's not the point. You can like or dislike what you want. We can agree or disagree, but I think that the thing that everybody I think can agree on is this is a great series for horror in general. Horror films doing good at the box office is never a bad thing, especially when it's an independent film like this. I think the budget was like $2 million or something. Um, maybe higher than that, but I know the budget for this one is a lot higher than the first or second. Um, but it is such a slam dunk for independent film that a film like Terrifier, like graphic, grimy, modern slasher film like this can do as well as they do, and make as much money as they do. With the Joker 2 being a flop at the theater, I haven't seen it, so I won't talk about the quality, but with stuff like that flopping and being overtaken by independent films like this, it does put a smile on my face. I think horror, has been making, it never really went away, but I think in the mainstream it's been making a really big comeback since like 2010 to 2015. And I feel like Terrifier is like a good indication of that. I think it shows that horror is in like a healthy place, and while stuff like Blumhouse films do well at the box office and they're, often shit, it shows that like independent films like this that appeal seemingly to a much more minute audience can still do really well at the box office, and it's good for horror in general. So yeah, Terrifier, good series. Keep supporting them. This is a really good film. This is a film made by people that enjoy the genre. So, oh, and I also want to mention there are cameos in this film galore. Tom Savini's in this. Clint Howard is in this. I'm not going to spoil the rest, but you gotta love it. You love seeing those guys come back in here. Clint Howard especially was a hell of a lot of fun to see on screen. His interaction with art is super funny. It's not just like a walkthrough cameo. So yeah. Anyways, good movie. 2 thumbs up. Go watch Terrifier 3. As always, I've been your host, Herschel Gillis, signing off for today. Zero thoughts, zero editing, zero brain cells, and zero planning. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't. Keep your notifications on. I'll see you guys later. Thanks.